In The Legend of Korra, Book 3, Suyin teaches Korra how to metal bend, and in it she becomes the first ever metal bending avatar. But I simply couldn't accept this as the truth, and hence wanted to make a video about it. In this video, I'll be talking about my theory of why Aang was actually the first metal bending avatar. As soon as Suyin said Korra was the first metal bending avatar, my mind immediately thought back to the last Airbender episode, The Drill, which was the 13th episode from Book 2. Aang and Katara are sweating their asses off trying to break through the metal braces on the drill using simple water bending. Keep in mind, this is the days before Platinum. Towards the end of the episode, he tries to create a dent-type hole in the drill and says,
"What I'd give to be a metal bender."
Aang literally just said he wanted to be a metal bender, and given that a couple episodes later in The Guru, Toph literally invents metal bending, I don't see why Aang wouldn't want to be a metal bender. Might I also add that the drill does an excellent job to foreshadow the invention of metal bending by Toph. Given the rise of industrialization that would lead to Republic City, metal bending seems like a really good asset that Aang would want as the Avatar. In the finale of The Last Airbender, Toph points out that Aang's earthbending could use some work. This leads me to believe that Aang would have trained with Toph and Go for a while after Sozin's Comet to fully complete his training as a full-fledged Avatar. That training would likely take the same sort of route as Iroh teaching Zuko advanced firebending throughout their journey over books 1 and 2. My theory is that Aang's final earthbending training would conclude with metal bending being taught to him similarly to the way Iroh taught Zuko the technique of lightning redirection. It's the same sort of situation. Toph and Iroh both invented forms/techniques of bending, and I think they would both teach them to Zuko and Aang respectively. Aang was also able to learn the technique of lightning redirection from Zuko, which is another type of situation that I think would resemble Toph teaching Aang metal bending. Toph and Iroh even had tea together, and Iroh ended up giving Toph advice with Aang based on his experiences with Zuko. But we have to take into account everything from both shows on this topic. Now the main knock I see against this theory is that Aang physically or morally could not metal bend. Aang had the most difficulty learning Earth out of all the elements as it was his natural opposite, but Aang was eventually able to learn earthbending after he struggled and overcame his challenges. Also, Toph kind of figured out how the heck to teach Aang metal bending through positive reinforcement, of course. In one of the comics, Toph does say that she tried to teach Aang metal bending, but he didn't have the stomach for it, which could be because he didn't have the same sort of grounded earthbender personality and mentality, but I mean, that might just be Toph's personality and rhetoric being all Toph-like. Furthermore, Bolin talks about how he cannot metal bend and only 1 out of every 100 earthbenders have the ability to do so. We never had that statistic confirmed, but it definitely means something. Not to mention that Toph herself said her own daughters never really picked up metal bending. This was probably a result of Toph's personality, but I mean, Suyin couldn't even bend all the metal poison out of Korra, and she's part of Toph's bloodline. But then Toph said something that just contradicts all of that. During the latter half of Book 4, Bolin meets Toph and fangirls out, but he mentions that he could not learn metal bending from Sue. Toph goes on to say something really interesting here. She mentions proper instruction that Sue could not give. This probably comes from Toph being Toph, but this also means that she claims to be able to teach metal bending to almost anyone. And I mean, I think this kid is a little bit stronger and a little bit smarter than most blockheads. Aang struggled early on, but after that he was able to earthbend considerably well, being a great asset to him during many fights. I mean, the guy was able to do so much by the time he was 13, which is 3 years younger than when most avatars get the memo that they are the next avatar. Not to mention that Toph used her seismic sense to discover metal bending, an ability Aang also possessed. I think metal bending would not be unlearnable for Aang. He definitely would have the ability to do so. The last sort of reason why maybe Aang did not learn how to metal bend was probably a moral one. Aang has the ability to bend all 4 elements and the avatar state, along with a balance of spiritual, knowledge, and power. He is the first in thousands of years to have the ability to energy bend and take away people's bending. He was the most powerful person on the planet, and arguably the most powerful in existence. Well, at least until the Legend of Korra brought in the lasers. As an air nomad, he wanted to be peaceful and wanted to avoid violence at all costs. Maybe he thought that having metal bending would make him too powerful as a person. But I mean, he did learn to redirect lightning, but deciding to use it was another thing, and he chose to align with his morals on its usage during his battle with Ozai. So I feel like he would have taken the time to learn it at least. There was a whole 50 years of Aang's life we missed, so we don't know the whole story, but I think Aang was in fact the first metal bending avatar. But this is largely my opinion, which should be pretty clear, as I was over-analyzing pretty much every line that I mentioned. If you have anything to add, comment on, or disagree with, then leave in the comments below. But this video was a ton of fun to make, and I hope you were able to get something out of it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to have a splendid day. Peace.